Ahoy, shipmates! Now, the more astute of you amongst us might have noticed that we are not in our favourite port of Southampton here on the south coast of England. We are, in fact, about 80 miles northeast, just east of London, on the River Thames. In fact, we are here at Tilbury Fort. You can see the moat is a rather disgusting colour, not one I'd want to be swimming in. The River Thames itself is also rather brown. I'm not sure I'd want to be swimming in that either. Noticed a few things in the local area, something that caught my eye.
Birds, 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 birds!
An oyster catcher. We've run into trouble before with oyster catchers. One, rather unfortunately, last year took my drone out of the sky, causing it to plummet down into Southampton water, never to be seen again. So instead we have a bit of ground footage of this World War II radar tower. The radar itself would have been up there in the top room, and the bottom was for the Marines that were looking after the installation. They had a kitchen, a off-duty room, a lobby, a WC and a washing area. Built in 1940-1941 and is disguised as a water tower. It housed a Type 287 radar associated with the detection of surface vessels on the river, possibly including submarines, rather than aircraft. It was almost certainly had a role in assisting Allied shipping through the minefield into the Channel and had a range of 10 miles. The aerial equipment was in the upper level and consists of a revolving parabolic array driven by an electric motor. Part of the radar apparatus is now stored in the Coal House Fort just behind us. Some reports suggest that the radar tower was disused by the late 1943. Some of you may think the tower looks familiar. Well, it did feature in 2011 in the BBC TV drama Spooks as a secret MI5 base. As you can see, there is a reasonable amount of shipping activity here on the River Thames. Very similar to the Port of Southampton, there's a whole variety of ship traffic, cruise ships, container ships, although not as big as the ones we get in the Port of Southampton, and lots of commercial vessels, dredgers, and such like. Even the odd ferry, which we will see later. So I was hoping to get the drone out, but I've learnt my lesson with oyster catchers, so I steer clear of them. This is the cruise ship terminal at Tilbury. No cruise ships in the moment. In fact, they don't visit very often, so I need to coordinate my timings better. But there is a familiar looking ro-ro down there. Lots of cars seem to be imported and exported. Not sure what varieties. And here is a ferry. I saw this one earlier. Thought perhaps you'd be interested. I know how much the shipmates on the channel enjoy a ferry, and I thought this one's actually quite unusual. Let's get down a bit closer and I'll see if you can spot the unusual design of the hull. It's a little tricky. If I just get right down closer, you'll be able to see. I'll take a photograph, make it easier for you. There we go, I've lightened it up a bit. I don't know if you can work out, it's almost like a three-wheeler. Reminds me somewhat of a Reliant Robin. It's got two hulls at the stern and then one hull at the front. I'm guessing that aids for stability, stops it rolling around as it crosses the River Thames. I suppose I should probably use the more accurate nautical term of a trimaran. Capacity of up to 50 persons on board, can also take bicycles as well as people. Powered by an Perkins M215 engine producing 215 horsepower, which makes the Thames Swift a reliable and economical vessel, according to their website. She plies her trade between Tilbury Cruise Terminal and Gravesend Pier. used extensively by commuters, my understanding is. She has a heated saloon, a 4C-shaped bench seats, and it has some standing room and 2 small outside decks, each located at the end of the vessel, with additional seating on the rear deck. She can accept a wheelchair and around 10 bicycles via a step-free access. There you go, there is the Gravesend Pier over there. I'm getting those pesky oyster catchers again. Although there's something else coming which I think may be familiar to viewers of the channel. In fact, I know it's in the Port of Southampton at the moment. And it is this fantastic looking dredger. The Hanson Thames. She's very familiar in design to the Cemex Go innovation that we see extensively in and out of the Port of Southampton, and a favourite on the channel. The Hanson Thames has been designed to fit within the dimensions of the Shoreham Lock on the south coast. Rather amusingly, she is registered to the Port of Southampton, yet we hardly ever see her. She spends most of the time coming up and down the Thames and down to Shoreham. She's able to dredge for aggregates up to 55 metres deep. She has a number of special features, including an innovative design with a 1400 kilowatt permanent magnet electric motor which powers the dredge pump. The Hanson Thames is designed to operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with just a crew of 9. She's getting closer. Time for a picture, I would say. Very distinctive shaped hull, like the Cemex Go innovation. Different colour scheme, more of a traditional single colour than the fancy graphics. Very bright orange on the top of the bridge there. Certainly looks very ship-shape, all neat and tidy. I mean, she is only a couple of years old, but operating 24 hours a day, I'd imagine, can take its toll. That's not a bad photo. Those clouds came out quite well. I think I've got the bridge interfering with the land, the land on the horizon there, which is not so good. I have to think about that. Tried one from a bit higher up here with Tilbury Fort in the background. I thought that was quite fetching there. You can see the wake coming off the stern there. It's quite a low wake vessel. And you can just see the amount of equipment on the decks there for all the dredging, say down to a depth of 55 metres. Luckily, the Hanson Thames was just arriving in port, so there was in fact a pilot boat picking up the pilot on board. And there we go, the Hanson Thames Southampton. It's very rare that we get to see a ship registered to the Port of Southampton. Normally they're registered in some far-flung tax haven. See the white pipes along the side there, the part of the dredging apparatus, which are lowered into the water to suck up the aggregate. Built in Romania in the end of 2019. One of the key features of design is the offshore bow, which is very similar to the Cemex Go Innovations bow. It's designed to fully protect the foredeck, protecting equipment and cargo, as well as delivering excellent seakeeping. Take another shot here. So the clouds are quite attractive today. There was occasionally spots of sun coming through. It was quite windy at this location. Doesn't look like it, but there was quite a draft going up the Thames. I'll just fly back now to the cruise terminal, and then you can see the pilot boat just down there on the starboard side. You can see the shipmates there getting ready to lend a hand to the pilot as he gets on board. Not sure how far the Hanson Thames is going, actually, down the Thames. Not sure of her final destination, but I imagine at some point she probably needs the pilot on board. I think I'll get a photo from here. There we go. Not sure I've ever taken a photograph before of the pilot vessel doing its job. It's slightly different. There isn't a great deal of traffic from the cruise ship terminal here in London. But there's a variety of traffic on the river. If you happen to live along here, I'd imagine you'd have an excellent view. Perhaps there could be a location for another camera. I shall have to investigate further. Vessels coming into a port that they are not registered in are required to have a pilot on board to assist in navigation. This would mean that when the Hanson Thames returns to the wonderful port of Southampton, she will not need a pilot. She can do it completely by herself. You can see that very distinctive bow shape there. Looking at the waterline, compared to some of the other pictures I've seen, there must be a great deal of aggregate on board. She's riding very low. Look at that. It's not a bad picture. Some of those menacing looking clouds in the sky. Picture about the colour of the Thames. It's not an attractive colour. I think Southampton water's got a much better hue to the colour of the water. There we go. We can see a bit of shuffling going on board the pilot vessel there. Maybe the pilot's getting on or getting off. I'm not actually sure. Well, the captain should know better, shouldn't he? Well, we can see the pilot vessel peeling away now. I think that'll draw to an end our little film. If you have enjoyed it, shipmates, do think about subscribing. I do thank all my Patreons, PayPal donors, and supporters of the channel. Until next time, shipmates.